Hi everybody. Today's episode will be focused on how to populate your group, so how to involve members in your group. First of all, I just remind you to not to start promoting the group in case you don't have a decent setup of the group. So for this reason, I ask you, if you didn't watch the previous episode, the previous video, to watch it now before going on with this. Okay, so I suppose you don't need huge numbers of members in your group. So my personal suggestion is always to take your time and start very slowly. We will examine today in this episode three channels for the promotion of your group: the promotion within LinkedIn social media, outside LinkedIn, and some kind of indirect promotion. So let's go. Okay, let's start from the promotion within LinkedIn, so the first channel you can use. Of course, I suggest you to start from your connection. I guess if you are working on a topic in a sector, you will have most of your connections which are related to that sector. So, but my suggestion is, even among your connections, don't send invite just to all the people you know. Choose carefully whom you want to invite. You may remember that in the previous episode I told you about the major risks you have in a group, and that you have to clarify in the group rules. So, for example, one of this risk is the anything anywhere, which is typical of social media. So people posting about anything in any group. And of course, this risk is higher if you invite people who even if they are among your connections, they are not related to the sector, to the specific sector the group is dealing with. So once again, don't invite everybody. And also to avoid commercial posts or posts you don't really like to see in your group. Now I'll show you practically how to invite your connections to a group. It's very easy to invite your connections to the group. So you see here one of my groups, and then you have here the button Invite Connections. So as soon as you do invite connections, then you can search by name, you can look at the whole list, and then you can have some filters which can be also very interesting. So you can filter, for example, by locations, if your group has a geographical scope, let's say, by companies. For example, you know that there are some companies active in the sector the group is dealing with, but you don't remember who from those companies is among your connection, for example, schools or what more, industries and so on. So you can have some filters. Once again, my suggestion is to carefully choose who you're inviting to the group. Another thing you may want to do is to look for, let's say, special people on that topic. And it could be, for example, the so-called influencers. So people who have whose opinion, let's say, is very relevant for the whole sector, and you may want to have them in the group. Of course, this will increase, let's say, the fame of your group. But just be careful, because you can invite within LinkedIn, you can invite people to the group only if they are among your connections. So if you want to invite some influencers, but for example you don't know him or her, first of all you have to connect. Okay, another point which I found very useful is look for the right hashtags. Which are the right hashtags for your sector, and you can search on LinkedIn through these hashtags, and you can check who is discussing about this topic. and can invite them to the group, even if they are not among their connections. What I usually do is, for example, if I found, I don't know, I'm talking about energy communities, and I have a group about that, and then I found through the search with the hashtag energy communities, I find an interesting discussion, and then I can leave under the post in the comments box, a comment saying, oh, interesting, I have just opened a group on this topic. Why don't you join? And I just copy and paste the link to the group. And you can also, this is very important also, you can also follow hashtags as you follow people, exactly. That means that in your LinkedIn feed, discussions related to these hashtags, the posts and whatever, will appear in your feed. And so it's easier for you to find which are the people which are discussing about your topic. So let's see how you can look for hashtags and follow them. So for example, I look for the hashtag energy communities. So energy communities, because my group is dealing with this topic, for example. And here you go. You see that this hashtag has already 75 followers. So if I click on this button follow, then the posts with this hashtag will appear in my feed, and I'll get aware of that, and then I can involve people in my group. Of course, you can also use the typical channels outside LinkedIn. For the promotion outside LinkedIn, you can look for influencers, for example, and contact them by telephone or by email. So you can have a look at your email addresses you have. And don't be scared from the fact that you have, for example, to send separate emails or do phone calls. Each member is a treasure for the group. You don't need huge number of members. You need the right ones. So it's very important, if you want people to be in the group, I think it is worth also to have a personal email or even a phone call. Then my other suggestion is to use webinars or events. So if you follow meetings, webinars, conferences about the topic the group is dealing with, you can ask speakers to connect, for example, on LinkedIn. My suggestion is always to send personal notes, personal messages saying, for example, I have just followed this, attended this webinar. It was very interesting. I opened a group about this topic. Why don't you join this group? You can even, if you know directly, for example, some event organizers or some speakers, you can even ask them to say a word during their speeches. If you don't, you can anyway, usually in these webinars, there is a public chat. So you can say, announce, let's say, the group in the chat by saying what this group is about, and of course, copying and pasting the link of the group. And don't be shy about that, because you're doing that for free. It's not, you're not paid for organizing this group. So you really, I think, have the right to do that. And another good promotion outside LinkedIn, of course, would be to use other social networks. So if you use Instagram, or if you use YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or whatever, you can promote the group also among the contacts you have there. And I'll show you just this example I did for the promotion of one of my group about renewable district heating and cooling on Twitter. Okay, we came to the last point, the indirect promotion. So once the group has been kicked off in a good way, then I think the ball keeps rolling. So, for example, in my group, I have new members daily, even if I don't do any promotion. But of course, to push it a bit, you can use the right hashtags in the description of the group. I already told something about that in the previous episode, and also in all the posts you're doing in the group. Okay, we came to the end. In the next episode, I will talk about the group management, but honestly, I still have to think about what I want to tell you exactly. Thanks for listening and bye.